Good evening. This is a reorganization meeting and immediately following the combined work session and public meeting of the Township Council, the Township of Mahwah. Notice was advertised in the record on January 7, 2018, and faxed to the Ridgewood News for information only on January 5th, 2018, stating that this meeting would be held in the Senior Center at the Richard J. Martell Municipal Center, located at 475 Corporate Drive in Mahwah, New Jersey, on Tuesday, January 9, 2018, at 7 p.m. Notice of the meetings in the Township Hall and filed in the Township Clerk's office. The minutes of the meeting shall be available in the Township Clerk's office. I ask that you would all please rise to salute the flag. I would ask if someone from Mr. Pease would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that you would all remain standing for a moment of silence for our men and women in the military, both here and abroad, both living and deceased, who, thanks to their valor, we have our freedom and we are able to have this meeting here tonight. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Eruv? Here. Mr. Irvin?
Here.
Mr. Hermanson?
Present.
Mr. May?
Here.
Mr. Wong?
Present.
Mr. Wysocki?
Here. Okay. Public portion of the meeting. Each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes. Mahwah residents go first. Topics at hand is going to be reorganization. Anybody has any questions or concerns or whatever, please come up and open as to the microphone. With that, I make a motion open to the public.
So moved.
By Mr. Urban, second by Mr. May. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is now open to the public.
Good evening, everybody, and Mayor, Mr. Hermanson. I just got sworn in myself today down in Trenton.
Congratulations.
And from there, witnessed Governor Christie's 8th and final State of the State address on behalf of his tenure as governor for our communities. And this is now my 4th term that I just began. And I come tonight, one, to swear in a couple of people, but also to just talk to all of you as a community. My own experiences, I've been involved with Mahwah since I was a child. Many people are unaware, when I was a teenager, I actually flipped burgers at Cherry's truck stop on Route 17, and it was one of my first jobs. My aunt, uncle, cousins all grew up in this community. I was here, how many years ago, swearing in Mayor LaFerret, and caught some grief for doing so as a Republican Assemblywoman, swearing in somebody who is an independent. I am a Catholic. My husband's a Jew. I have a brother-in-law who's Orthodox, sister-in-law, nieces, that are all members of my family. I represent a lot of our communities who, as of late, have been struggling, and I personally saw firsthand through my own election probably one of the ugliest climates I have ever seen in just the way people interact with one another, the way social media has essentially broken our society. And so I'm here tonight because I really honestly and truly believe, knowing all of the members sitting up here, that Mahwah can be the example of what it's always been. This is a community that has always been a great, wonderful community that's inclusive, that doesn't care if you're the poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich, doesn't care if you're Korean, American, Indian, what your religion is. This is a welcoming community, and for whatever reasons, it's been portrayed as something it's not. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us working together, not doing vicious personal attacks on social media, not trying to destroy the community because of personal issues with one another. It's too important for the people that you all represent to kind of try to come together in this new year. You've had some really tough months in Mahwah over the past 6-7 months. And you've taken some really hard hits and some really nasty comments that, personal attacks, threats against people's jobs, a whole host of other things. And you guys can rise above that. You could be a model for our state. And I mean, one of the speeches given today by our minority leader spoke to this very issue, because we're seeing it all over the state, not just Mahwah. Every portion of this state is dealing with various issues like you guys are. And he got up in front of the entire legislature, and his words, this is John Bramnick's words, "Vicious personal attacks are not worthy of our American democracy or our history as a nation. Tweets that hurl insults at each other do not solve any complicated issues." And, Mahwah's had some pretty complicated issues. So I implore anybody who is in this room, whether or not you live in Mahwah, whether or not you're a stranger who's been following what's been going on, you do not help your cause by attacking one another. You do not help your cause by threatening people. And, to people who have been doing it, we have to be louder and stronger in uniting to stop and condemn that sort of stuff. So, as you guys move forward, just remember, this community is everything that is good with our state. You guys have such an incredible blend of cultures, religions. I mean, it's been as open as any community I've ever represented. And you guys can really lead in fighting against, the label that you have intolerance or bitterness, because you're not. And whatever I can do to facilitate trying to bring parties together, to change the dialogue, to change the discourse, I am here tonight for one Mahwah and to really, enable the rest of our communities to see the best of what Mahwah is. So I thank you. I thank you all for your service. Being in public service oftentimes sucks. It really does. And you have to make some really difficult decisions and choices. And in this day and age, if somebody doesn't agree with something that you have done, even if you have the best of intentions, the easy go-to is that you hate, or you're this, or you're that. And knowing you guys personally, and knowing where your hearts are, I know that that's not the case. So let's all work together, use me as a resource, and let's really try to make this a great new year. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to try to follow that? Okay. Got one taker.
Hi, Paul Sean. I live at 100 Halifax Road in Mahwah. Yes, let me also thank them for their service. And all of you, it is tough. And also to you and your families, Happy New Year. I also do a little bit of service. I have lived in Mahwah for 25 years. I was on the Environmental Commission. I also got drafted into being a trustee at the Rampart Hunt and Polo Club. For many years, it was the most beautiful place I thought to live. I raised a family in there. But we've been working through a really tough situation now for almost 2 years. And tonight, I want to ask you, since the spring of 2016, the situation has been that we're really trying to have the town just enforce the law. The zoning officer has not issued a single use violation for numerous use violations that are occurring at 95 Halifax Road. And I'd like to know why, in all this time, not a single use violation has been issued.
I think if I may, if I may, Mr. Am I saying the name right, Sky?
Nobody gets it right. Sean.
Sean?
Yeah.
Basically, we were in court Friday. An order was issued by the court Monday. The civil case will now proceed. As a result of the municipal court action, which was recently decided, the zoning officer decided, based on consultation with my office and others, not to issue further summonses. That will now be reviewed based upon what we see as no appeal having been filed, and if it was filed, it was not filed timely, and also that the time periods have basically run out. We were waiting to have various motions decided. Unfortunately, the court did not entertain those motions until Friday, and we received an order Monday. So the matters will be evaluated. We've been in contact with the association's attorney, and in all likelihood, there will be further enforcement action, but that has not been determined as of yet. And that's pretty much what I can tell you now.
That have been issued by the town and have worked their way through the court system have largely revolved around structures. We spent a ton of money, and from day one, our attorney has told us it's really a side issue. It's you know, at the end of the day, the structures support an improper use. We want the law enforced on use.
And we are aware, and there will probably be further action.
Okay, that would be great, because we've been told, we've heard from various sources, we've received an email that it's being evaluated. The situation is being evaluated. It's been evaluated now at a town level through calls for nearly 2 years.
And I understand that, and we were waiting to get through the process that just occurred this past Friday. Whether that was right or wrong, that's what we waited to do. And now we will be evaluating it, we'll be discussing it with the zoning officer and taking it to the next step. And as I've indicated, we've always kept your attorney in mind.
I appreciate your information. I expect to be back often, because I'm getting pushed from a lot of people who may not be quite as calm.
Right, and I understand. But you know, give us a little time. As I said, we were in court Friday.
2 years.
We were in court Friday. Well, we wanted a decision from the court. Those, as you are aware, it's taken 4 or 5 months just to get those motions heard.
We've been, numerous individuals have been maligned on the internet. I've been singled out. Historically, I had no problem letting my kids wander off in the dark in my neighborhood. You know, now, my kids are older, I feel sorry for a young family. You know what? They pulled out a shotgun and blasted out some lights.
I'm not disagreeing. We're all aware of the facts, and as I said, we got a decision on Monday. Case will proceed, and the town can take the appropriate action.
Appreciate it. I'll see you at the next council meeting.
Absolutely.
Murray, Bridal Path Lane, Polo Club. I didn't know that I could speak now. I thought I had to wait to
That's all right.
forward in there. I'm going right after. The letter that Mike sent to the Ramapos well over a year ago, cited the activities and indicated that until proper approvals were received, the activities must cease. And this was based on something that Mr. Chakowski said before that the use of the property is contrary to the zoning ordinance, and the use appropriate enforcement action should be taken, and this was over a year ago. Now, Mr. Chakowski, I heard what you just said, but I also heard an awful lot of qualifiers in what you said, that you would be now discussing it, you would be reevaluating it. What I don't understand is if you already determined well over a year ago that these were violations, why weren't and why aren't? What difference does it make, whether it's on appeal, whether it's not on appeal? There are still violations going on. You've already ascertained that it's illegal. Why aren't they being cited?
And as I indicated, it does make a difference because we were going through the litigation process. The actions were stayed by the court pending a resolution of the municipal.
Your actions were stayed by the court?
Or the actions were stayed by the court regarding the motions that we filed by virtue of the fact that the case was going through a municipal court process. Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. Those motions were argued Friday, an order entered Monday, and Mr. Kelly and I will be discussing that. As a matter of fact, we have a meeting, I believe, scheduled Friday? Yes. Friday.
Okay. As a part of that, we have contacted the mayor, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Mulvey, time and time and time again, and we don't hear anything. Now, if there are legitimate legal reasons why something can't be done, we're all intelligent enough people that somebody might respond and say, we're well aware of it, we're sorry, our hands are tied, you know, check back with us in a month, you know, I mean, how about a response?
Well, as I said, the association's attorney was advised of all the actions. They were participating. I would say, you know, it would not be far-fetched that there's been contact on a daily basis.
I've heard that he has requested or has contacted or reached out, whatever the terms were, on 3 occasions and got nothing. I'd also like to make you aware that this is now a 6-figure fee that we are already, you know, beyond with our attorney. We as homeowners in the association are prohibited from speaking to our attorney because every time somebody talks to the attorney, you know, the tab is running. So we're in the dark. So if I contact somebody, I would appreciate the courtesy of a response simply saying, you know, I'm not looking for a whole big thing, but, you know, it would be nice to be able to know what the heck is going on.
And I can't speak as to whoever you contacted, but as I indicated, since we got our decision Monday, we will be meeting Friday.
Okay. I'd just like to mention a couple of other things that fits into this thing, that going back years ago to the beginning of the Polo Club, Chuck planned to have a big equestrian facility in there. Now, I don't know how many people would have been drawn to that equestrian facility, but I'm sure it's not the hundreds that have been drawn to many of the events that the Ramaphosa have held. At that time, the town put the kibosh on the equestrian facility because it required Chuck to build a 2-lane bridge to replace the 1-lane bridge that's there because they were concerned about safety issues, traffic issues, and everything else, okay? All summer long, we have had events going on with hundreds of people coming and going. Where is the town in terms of enforcing the safety issues that they themselves brought up 20 years ago when they didn't allow this other thing to go through? Secondly, the town approved the Polo Club with an open space provision. That was one of the things that appealed to the town. 75 acres of open space and the whole way it was going to be set up. They understood that it was a private community. We tried to get rid of that stupid bridge. We tried to have you people take it back. We tried to have the county take it back. No going. It's your bridge. It's your roads. We've got to pay for it. We spent almost $750,000 out of our pocket to replace that bridge because it was in such poor condition and to repair the roads. Private, we were told. So the town approved one thing, but now they are not taking the steps to protect what they approved. And all we're asking is for the town to step up and do what they're supposed to be doing. A few months ago, you guys had 400 people or something upstairs protesting actions. And boy, did that get your attention. And boy, did some things get done. Can't say they were the right things or the best things, but they sure got a response. We're only 29 homeowners over there. It's easy to ignore us. In fact, unless you make a deliberate attempt, you don't even see us. So we're all very frustrated over there. We do not feel the town is doing anything. We do not get a response from the town. And I am simply communicating this to you that, we're looking to the town to do its job in enforcing its own laws. And not expect us to have to pay out of our pocket to litigate to whatever in order to make that happen. So I'm asking you to work with us, to take 2018 and move ahead and take the action that was promised and get this thing resolved. I look forward to hearing what changes will come.
Just so that you're aware, this council did authorize the commencement of the litigation. There were summonses issued, there was enforcement action. That only results in a fine. We could issue summonses, there'll be further municipal court proceedings. The trial has to proceed. That's where we are now. That's what was decided on Monday.
Thank you.
And if I may, with respect to not receiving the response
You
today,
responded.
and as I've responded to in the past, that you guys have an attorney, your attorney should review with our attorney, opposed to 10 different people contacting 10 different people and everything getting out of control.
And when I asked our attorney, he said he'd reached out to here and here and here and here and got no response. That's the response that our attorney gave me.
Okay. Can't speak to that.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Council President. My name is Keith Kaplan, 670 Ramapo Road, Teaneck, New Jersey. Last time I was here, I brought up a quote by late President LBJ. Today I was reminded of one that was spoken 57 years ago to the day by John F. Kennedy as he was setting up a government to go into office within the next couple of weeks. I thought it was relevant during a reorganization. He said, "Today the eyes of all people are truly upon us, and our governments in every branch at every level, national, state, and local, must be seen as a city upon a hill, constructed and inhabited by men aware of their great trust and great responsibilities," and women. It's a sacred trust that the voters put in you when they put you in this position. He says that history will not judge our endeavors, and a government cannot be selected merely on the basis of color or creed or even party affiliation. Neither will competence and loyalty and stature, while essential to the utmost, suffice in times such as these. We're at a fractured time in our country. There's a lot of people that are separated by tribe, not necessarily the tribes that exist here, but the tribes that we all have. The tribes that people have had since they were in caves. The tribes of those in this group that are competing for scarce resources from another. The tribes of people in Mahwah or Bergen County or the state of New Jersey. The tribes of people that are in New York that want to come to someplace else to go to a park. JFK says, "For those to whom much is given, much is required, and when at some future date the High Court of History sits in judgment on each one of us, recording whether in our brief span of service we fulfilled our responsibilities to the state, our success or failure in whatever office we may hold will be measured by the answer to 4 questions. First, were we true men of courage, with the courage to stand up to one's enemies and the courage to stand up when necessary to one's associates, the courage to resist public pressure as well as private greed? When people come before you and called others an infection, did you stand up? When people come before you and say they are going to abuse laws before any abuse actually happens. When people are called they, did you stand up? Secondly, were we truly men of judgment and perceptive judgment of the future as well as the past, of our own mistakes as well as the mistakes of others, with enough wisdom to know that what we did not know, and enough candor to admit it? You removed Ordinance 1806. It was the right move. It did not come with any statement of contrition. It did not inform the public that what you did was wrong, if indeed you think it was wrong. Government needs to be truly people of judgment with that perception. Third, were we truly men of integrity, men who never ran out on either the principles in which they believed or the people who they believed in them. Men who believed in us, men who neither financial gain or political ambition could ever divert from the fulfillment of our sacred trust. When people came before you and said that they had ideas, were they shouted down? Where was the sacred trust that the voters put in you, voters you agreed with, and especially voters you that you disagreed with? Where was the trust in the people that came before you? Not just the ones that are called vagrants, not just the ones that are called troublemakers or out-of-towners or people told to go to another town if you don't like them. Where was the trust of the public to engage and to dialogue? Finally, were we truly men of dedication, with an honor mortgaged to no single individual or group, and compromised by no private obligation or aim, but devoted solely to serving the public good and national interest? Governments are derived by the people, of the people, for the people. That is what should not perish from this earth. And what I have seen in this room, quite frankly, does not live up to the sacred creed that is America. And I hope in this reorg that will be the overriding sentiment of this council, to live up to the promise of the voters that put you in these positions. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Motion to close. Oh, sorry. We have one more.
My name is Sidney Harris. I'm on Board of Health.
Yes.
We're trying to have a meeting. You guys have to vote on my
Yep,
appointment.
you're coming up right now. This is moving, we're moving you along.
Excellent.
I promise you.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Motion to close. By Mr. Warren, second by Mr. May. All in favor? Aye. This meeting is now closed to the public. Okay, go to our order of business on the, for the consent agenda. So,
Well, first we have to do the appointments.
Yeah.
1 through 4.
we're gonna do the appointments 1 through 4 first. Then we're gonna go and I'm gonna explain a couple of things when we get to it. But, okay, so the first appointment that we're gonna make is for council president. Do I have a nomination for council president?
I nominate Robert Hermanson.
Do I have anyone else? Any other nominations? We need a second.
Well, we have Mr. Wan moving the nomination. There are no other nominations. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, be appropriate for a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Arriva? Abstain. Mr. Eruv?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Rob, if you want to continue, say yes.
Mr. Wong?
Abstain.
Mr. Weishaupt?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. We're going to do the council vice president also, then we'll do the swearing-ins. Make an appointment for the council vice president. I'll make a nomination. I nominate Jonathan Wong as the council vice president. Any other nominations?
You have the nomination with the second, it would be appropriate for roll call.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Arriva?
Yes.
Mr. Eruv?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstock?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask if Holly Shafisi would swear me in, and I'm going to ask if Kathy Coviello will hold the Bible for me, please.
That one?
Raise your right hand. I
I,
Robert,
Robert Herman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
of the authority of the people.
so help me God.
In the council, along with the council members they have in both myself and in Jonathan. You know, this year has not been easy, and in fact, some of the things and some of the decisions that people have made up here was asking me whether I wanted to continue through as a council president, knowing some of the things that have happened, some of the things that have been said, some of the attacks that have been laid upon us, both myself and Dave May. You know, it's not easy when you have people who are attacking you and attacking your job, and attacking your family and your livelihood. It's not one of the things that I think anyone should have to go through, and I don't believe that that's what public service is about. I don't believe that it's about people going after your livelihood. I don't believe it's about attacking people's families and what they do to support their families. I find it really offensive from people to come in and do certain things online and to go in here and then come forward to talk about what the proper thing for government and how government is treated and how people who are working and taking care of the people of what we should be doing, and then going in and carrying off on a mission to go in and try to destroy people's lives. To me, I think that's wrong. I think that's the reason why people do not want to get into public service, that they're afraid to go in here and put themselves in the spotlight and in the line and put their name on ballot, because this is not what our country is about. This is not what we should be doing. This is not what it should be about. Unfortunately, this is where we have gotten. And I believe that this year is a New Year's resolution, that it should be something that everyone works together to try to tell each other that this is wrong. And when it happens, the people who it goes on, it should be asked to stop. Not carried on, not put on people's sites, not carried through and carried and blogged and whatever. It's wrong. It's wrong to attack people. It's wrong to attack their lives. It's wrong to attack people's jobs. To me, you disagree with what the decisions are, that's the way it should be. Disagree with people personally on your decisions, that's what goes on. Public discourse is good, so long as it's handled in the appropriate manner. When you start attacking people and their families, that's a disgrace. That's not what this country was about. It's not what it should be about. It's about being bullied and cyberbullying, and that's not what we teach our kids, and it's not what we should be teaching the people here either. And I ask for those people who are doing it online to stop. Whether it's from people here in Mahwah, or whether it's people from outside of Mahwah. It's wrong. It's not what should happen. This is not what we should be living every day, wondering of what's going to be put up next to go after here. The individuals who sit up here on this board sit here for the love of this town. They put their names and their reputations and their things and their jobs and everybody online right here every day. That's what this should be about. It should be about working together to help the people in this town, not about trying to destroy people's lives. Thank you.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of
of
the United
the
States
United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will impartially
that I will impartially
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of Council Vice President
all the duties of Council Vice President
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God. Last year, I didn't give a speech, but I would actually like this year to direct my speech first to the public and I guess to my fellow council members. This is my last year going, of my first term. You know, whatever happens, I've loved being on the council. Honestly, there's nothing greater than public service or helping individuals, whether it's in the Polo Club, Paddington Square, all across Mahwah. And with this year, I hope to do just the same with every year and work my hardest. And please, if you ever have any issues, don't hesitate to ever come to the podium or email one of us. We're here to serve. To my colleagues on the council, I will work. Thank you for your vote, and I will continue to work hard for all of you.
Okay, we're going to do 3 and 4. We're going to do the appointment of planning board and appointment of the zoning board. What we are going to do then after that are the appointments that we would have for the council appointments. We are going to table those to the next, to our next meeting. The reason being is that we've had a nomination for a council person. The nomination has come through. In order to nominate a council person to the council, it does have to go through either a committee meeting or what we call an agenda meeting. Our agenda meeting will be held on Friday. Therefore, anyone else on the council, if there's anybody else who would like to nominate an individual to the council or potential for the council seat, I ask that the council would submit their name, submit the name to myself or to Kathy. Actually, I should go through Kathy. Should go directly to Kathy and submit the name by close of business on Thursday. But as of right now, we do have one name that has been submitted, and if that's the way it works, then that goes on at the agenda meeting. That name will be put on the agenda to be voted on the 18th. At the point, we'll have to have a nomination and a second, and then it would be a vote after that. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about how that would be handled or how we're handling that? Okay, so I'm asking by the close of business on Thursday that we would have all nominations potential for the position for council, for the empty vacated position. With that, I'm going to ask to move 03, which is the appointment of the planning board Class 3 member. I make that motion as from the council would be Mr. Irvin. This way we can, in case there's something that goes on in between now and the next meeting. So I make the motion for Mr. Irvin. Do I have a second? By Mr. May. Roll call, please.
Mr. Reba? Yes. Mr. Irvin?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Yes.
Okay. We also have appointment of the zoning board adjustment, 2 Class 4 members, 1 alternate. So I'm just going to go through it. Excuse me?
I think it's only one for that one.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's only 1, but I wanted to make sure.
Two that expires in 17, Joe Lawson and Chuck Revolt.
But I thought there was
But
only...
there's only 3 people.
It's 2 Class 4 and 1 alternate.
And 1 alternate 2. That's what I'm saying. There was no alternate 2. Right? Correct?
That's correct.
That's what I thought. That's why I was going back to check on the to make sure it was phrased right. Okay, do I have a motion to move that?
Well, the names as indicated, Joe Lawson, Chuck Rivoli, Ward Stroughton.
Yeah, those are right. Moved by Councilman Wong, second
Second.
by Mr. Urban. Roll call?
Ms. Arima? Yes. Mr. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Okay, so we're now going to table 5 through 14. We have to make a motion in a second.
Motion to table to the 18th.
Motion to the table, I'll make the motion. Sent by Mr. Wong. Roll call?
Ms. Arima? Yes. Mr. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Okay. I'm going to ask to poll. We're going to go through, we're going to try to move everything 15 through 54 then, unless anybody has any questions on anything else, on any of the appointments. Does there anyone have any questions on any of them? Because other than, I'd like to have 03518 polled.
I have a question.
Sure. On which one? On 15?
Yes. Yeah, because I know I was an alternate, I want to move people on 15.
Appointment and representative alternate to the Bergen Community Development.
Because that was me and you, remember?
I was the individual, and I believe
was the alternate, and I thought we were waiting.
I believe
for
you.
some- Are we doing that now?
we can pull 15 too then, and wait.
Yeah,
It was me and Janet was the second
Yeah.
on the backup on that.
I mean, you could hold it, or you can do it now, but you're going to keep it the same.
We can, you want to stay on?
Yeah.
We can keep
Yeah,
that, yeah, we'll
yeah.
keep that the same. I have no problem with that. That's fine. Okay, so we'll keep 15, we'll keep 15 on then, as opposed. So 15 through 54, and I'm asking to pull 035 to vote that separately, please.
So moved.
By Mr. Wong, second by Councilman Wysocki. Roll call, please.
Ms. Arima? Yes. Mr. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Now,
And 035, the cash management plan. Motion to move. I move by Mr. Wong, second by Mrs. Arima. Just discussion. I just would like to say that I pulled this separately to abstain from the vote, not for, even though I do not directly work for the bank, for Wells Fargo, but Wells Fargo's name is in here. I work for Wells Fargo Advisors, but just to make sure that there's no questions or no qualms or anyone to say anything out of the ordinary, I want to make sure that this was, I voted it separately to abstain on that. Any other questions or concerns? Roll call, please.
Ms. Arima? Yes. Mr. Urban?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Abstain.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Okay, that concludes the reorganizational portion for the part of this meeting.
we need a motion to
So,
adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn the reorganizational part by Mr. Wysocki,
Second.
by Mr. Urban. All in favor? All right, this meeting is now, the reorganizational meeting is now adjourned. Okay? One. Yeah, there's still, anyone, let me just add this. Any other the committee that you're on right now, any committees that you're on, that you're active council members, you still sit on the same committee for now. Still do the same thing until we come back onto the 18th, and then we would vote on the 18th based on that. Now, we have to go back through the whole same thing all over again for, right? So we don't have to do any of it, we don't have to do a roll call. We're just gonna do a roll call for starting into the regular combined work session and public meeting agenda for Tuesday, January 9, 2018. Roll call, please.
Ms. Arima? Here. Mr. Urban?
Here.
Mr. Hermanson?
Present.
Mr. May?
Here.
Mr. Wong?
Present.
Mr. Wysocki?
Okay. We get to open the meeting to the public one more time. So anyone wishing to address the public again, Mahwah residents first. And since this is basically a small agenda on things, we're going to ask that if anyone has any comments or anything that they would like to speak about, they can speak about anything they want tonight on this session. Anybody from Mahwah?
Susan Steinberg, 96 Armour Road. I just want to know where our bills, legal bills, what's going on?
Which matter this time?
All of them. I was thinking that we needed a deck of playing cards, like trading cards for all of Mahwah's lawyers.
No different from a lot of towns, but however, I believe, Quinn, you have some additional information from the last, is that we either have estimates or what the actual December bills were for the Eruv and AG litigation.
We have, we don't have the actual invoice, or maybe we did just get it, but from Howell Schuster for the month of December, they had previously billed through November. And for the month of December, their invoice is a little over $2,300. There wasn't a lot of activity in the month of December, really by anybody, so it's a fairly light billing month.
Now, I'm a little concerned, because when I asked you back in December, all of our attorneys, with the exception of Hal Schuster, their contracts all expired December 31st of 2017.
One expired December 31st, one expires in January. Those contracts are being extended.
Okay, I was just looking to see those contracts coming back to
Right.
the fort. Okay.
And those contracts, we're still working out the amounts, but I recommended that those extended contracts be in at $25,000. I know administration is looking at that because not all funds that have been appropriated have been expended from the previous contracts.
We would expect to have those on the next agenda, so we're working on those now.
Okay. This is not on the agenda, but in the interest of time, are we looking at anything about taxes for us in town? There's all sorts of stuff going on about considering setting up charitable funds to help with the federal taxes. Is that being considered in Mahwah?
That would be up to the administration, not to the mayor, not us, right now.
Okay. So,
We'll consider everything that can help the taxpayer.
okay.
Right now, there's several different opinions for whether the IRS will accept that, whether that is a one-off and, you know, a situation that can continue to occur. So we're looking into it.
All right, thank you.
Mary Ann Morrow, 143 Johnson Avenue. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Councilmember Hermanson, Vice President Long, congratulations. I'm hoping that 2018 is going to be much better for everybody. I just have a couple of comments. The woman, and I apologize, I don't know what her name is or she's still here, but the woman and the gentleman from the Polo Ground, okay? That issue, again, has been going on for 2 years, and we seem to be reactive to that after everything was said and done, which puts us in a difficult situation, okay? Long time in court, 2 years, we can't do anything, okay? We have the same situation with the Eruvs. You know, put up illegally, we just wanted them put up the right way, we couldn't do anything about it. Again, instead of being reactive again, we're proactive, okay? Some of the stuff that I saw on Facebook, you know, against Mr. May, against Mr. Hermanson, borders on, if not, is libel and slander, okay? If you don't like a group of people, that's fine. It doesn't make you anti-Catholic, anti-Semitic, anti-anything. You don't have to like everybody and everything, and quite frankly, that's what makes the world go round. So I think that the situation, as Mr. Hermanson addressed, is totally out of control. You shouldn't be attacking people's families. If you have a problem, you need to go to that person and discuss it. If you can't discuss it with the person face to face, then you shouldn't be doing it hiding behind a phone, okay? It doesn't, John F. Kennedy didn't say we all have to agree, okay? There's an old saying, we can agree to disagree, okay? But that doesn't mean that we violently attack other government officials, okay? Mahwah government officials are being attacked by other out-of-town government officials. It's wrong. It's just wrong. And before we have to be reactive in this situation like we have in the other two, I think we need to be proactive. And I believe that if this continues and it's being attacked as you as a council president, Dave May as a council member, okay, then I think it's up to the township to make that first move and say, enough, it has to stop. It has to come from the town. They're attacking you personally, but they're attacking you as members of this council. There should be some protection. And everybody's saying, we can't do anything, this one can say what they want to say, this one can say what you want to say, but you guys can't say what you want to say. The whole system is wrong. And I know Mr. Chakowski is going to say, you know, there's different rules, there's certain things we can and can't do, but you know what? If you're attacking you council people as representatives of this town, you're attacking this town. I pay taxes here. The people that are attacking you guys don't pay taxes here. Okay? We have a right to defend ourselves. Whether anybody likes it or not, that's the hard fact. Okay? What they're saying, what's being done, they, them, whoever, he, she, it, whatever's being said is wrong and is illegal and is not covered by the freedom of speech under the First Amendment because it specifically excludes libel and slander. So if it continues, I'm asking Mr. Chakowski, as the town attorney, to step in and take some kind of action to protect our people that are serving our community. We can't sit here and do nothing anymore. So that's how I would like to see 2018 start. Thank you.
I wouldn't mind it either, okay? But look, let me just say this. The amount of phone calls and texts that I have received, and I believe Dave has received, I won't speak for Dave, I'll let Dave say anything if he wants to, over the last 5 days is absolutely incredible. And it shows to me more than anything else, all right, how people care about people in this town, okay? For me, I do not ever remember anyone going after attacking anyone personally in a personal vendetta or attack for jobs or whatever on anything I have ever seen in this town, online, anywhere, okay, in the last decade. No one. I've heard people say that things have happened, whatever. To see what's gone on, all right, onto council members and straight attacks, okay, for people sitting in positions of authority, sitting in positions of people who have taken oaths to uphold the law and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. To me, you talk about asking me to resign. The gentleman should be forced to resign out of his town. He's a disgrace. He's a disgrace to his town. He's a disgrace to the people he represents. And the fact that he continues to go in and today again made a comment that he was going to continue even though he has received heat over this shows the character and the quality of the person who is attacking both myself and Mr. May.
Well, then back to my original comment, then I think it's time that Mr. Chakowski step in and defend the town.
I can't answer what the rights of what the attorney is allowed to do, but I will tell you that sitting as the executive, if I was the executive of the township, and I'm not, but if I was, I think I would make a phone call to the mayor of the town of who this council person representing the township that he is contacting us on and putting his name as a councilman on it to let them know that probably he's a little bit out of line instead of calling them up and having lunch with them instead. Any comments?
Vince Maiello, Glasgow Terrace. Regarding Susan's statement, the legal bills in the town, is there any other legal bills that the town, the people aren't aware of? Any other, legal fees that, none of us are seeing?
Everything is budgeted on bills and on bills list, so you will see the normal attorney's work done by my firm, and you have special counsel that has been retained for the Eruv and also the AG litigation.
going back further though, was there a rumor about a $2 million budget for the mayor and for the chief of police?
$2 million.
Like a Sinclair lawsuit?
There is another lawsuit in town.
It's a rumor. So when I heard the $2 million, I'm like,
Let's
it's gotta
straighten that
be wrong,
rumor out.
so-
Let Mr. Chakowski speak to that lawsuit and the $2 million rumor that you're speaking to. Mr. Chakowski, would you answer the question about how the Sinclair lawsuit is
The Sinclair lawsuit is
being funded by?
It's being funded by the insurance company.
Okay.
So the defense has been tendered by the joint insurance fund.
Okay. Last
We
question.
we
with
do
the-
pay for that though.
Some of it.
So that does not come out of our pocket.
Okay, that's good.
Not,
If the
yes, it does.
insurance-
Some of it does, yes.
Okay, if there's a, I don't know, those are big numbers, but if it is paid with the insurance, is it kind of like a car insurance where if they pay out a serious amount, our rates go up, and then the taxes will reflect down the road? Is it, what's the bottom, down the road, it's gotta cost us something.
That's up to the JIF to determine. I'm not exactly sure which policy this is being covered under, so there is a deductible which will include legal expenses. That could range from $5,000 to $25,000. Mahwah typically has a low deductible. The JIF is a joint insurance fund, which is treated a little different than other insurance companies.
Right.
But certainly can a premium increase? It can. It rarely does increase at a significant level unless there's something very catastrophic.
But also, there is one thing that I think you did mention that should be also referenced. On any of the policies that in the JIF, there is a certain level, just like any insurance policy, that you have a maximum amount that they'll cover. That's why some of us cover or have umbrella policies and things like that. So there is a number which we're not going to go into, but that would come out of our pocket. But once we hit a certain level, if the lawsuit is high enough and the settlement is high enough, then it would not be covered by the JIF. It would have to be covered by the taxpayers in the township of Mahwah. And if there are certain lawsuits that are more expensive than others, and it's why we consider all lawsuits and try to make decisions before we actually have to go to litigation. But again, when you're sued, it's very difficult not to defend yourself. All right, so in certain situations, when the suit comes against the town or against the mayor or against the council or whatever, you're forced to you have to defend yourself. All right, at that point, so there is going to be legal fees incurred based on people who sue us. So far, none of these suits that we're talking about, this way everyone understands whether it was against the one against the mayor or against the township, whatever, none of them have come because of Mahwah suing someone else first. As Mrs. Mora was saying about reactionary, that's kind of what's happened. We've had to react based on actions from others. And so we have a right to defend ourselves, and we have it.
That said, would the town attorney, Brian Chakowski, would you recommend no further comment on any pending litigation from possibly any council, anybody in any kind of a position in the town who gets paid by the taxpayer, just to help us just zero it out, maybe a silence, maybe one more time that could be spoken?
We always recommend that there not be any comment on any pending litigation.
I know we can't silence or tell everybody or watch their mouths all the time, but it just seems, everybody in the world is on social media. If you go on there, it's a real mess. Commenting on this stuff, I can't see it as good. Nothing good is going to come out of saying, oh, hey, look what we posted. It's a good fact. Look, we took it out of context. Somebody's going to take that. It's going to win a lawsuit. No, it's not. The only thing we're going to do is it's just going to make more options for us to put our foot in our mouths, to maybe get caught. Somebody could pick up something and say, look what they're saying here. This is wrong. Isn't silence the best when you're in litigation? Just let the lawyers handle it.
Usually, as I said, you recommend that there be no comment on pending litigation.
Because we're paying everybody. It's just kind of, as this goes on, what can we do? I don't know what else can be done besides recommending or you advising or even the other attorneys attorney's advising, just to, you know, I mean, at least not negatively about the town, maybe just, I don't know.
That's the basic advice.
What's that?
That's the basic advice. We do not comment on pending litigation.
We have been told that multiple times. Some of us follow better than others.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Lisa Wasotsky, Hutchinson Road, Englewood. I came to a council meeting this past September 17th and spoke against bigotry and Mahwah's attempt to exclude groups from the township. I was troubled as the hate talk continued over months, with Orthodox Jews referred to as an infection, as anti-Semitic trope was spewed, and as you, the elected officials of Mahwah, continue to foment anti-Semitism. For what?
That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. Please, if you're going to speak, say the truth, okay?
The sad part is, I wasn't even the one who said that. Okay, you sat here and offended every other council person again. I mean, look, I'm going to let you speak, and you speak as long as you want and say whatever you want. And I'm going to say this 100 times. When this was brought up originally, we stated that there was a few people, bad eggs, that if things were said in comments, to not hold the rest of the town accountable for everything. When we limited people on what they were trying to say, we got in trouble for that. It was about freedom of speech. You should be able to say whatever you want at a microphone. Then we allowed you to say people to say whatever they wanted at a microphone, and we got in trouble because now we allowed people to say things that you didn't want to hear. Make up your mind. Okay, the bottom line is, we did state that when people made comments here, that it was wrong. We had one individual come from the crowd during that time to tell us that we were better than this, that Mahwah was better, and what was going on by a person from out of town who's tried to start a fight with someone in town and told the person from Mahwah to leave them alone, to let it go. Okay? That's what it was. That's what did happen. Your blogs, your writing, your comments, what you believe, God bless you. I'm glad you can believe whatever you want. You're entitled to your opinion. It doesn't make it right. There has never been an anti-Semitic comment made off this council. There has never been an anti-Semitic comment made from this governing body at one of these meetings. And for you to sit there and proliferate your garbage, that you go in and you attack the gentleman sitting there about his job, and then you come in here and try to go in here and tell us about our town, let me tell you something. Take a look in the mirror first. Change yourself first. Remember, I think the Bible says, he without sin, all right, cast the first stone. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, right? Well, let me tell you something. You guys have been throwing stones for more than I have, since we've been sitting up here, since the time you showed up. And you'll be throwing stones the moment you get out of this meeting, when you take that tape and run it again and have the garbage put up there again on your hiding behind Eruv litigation on Facebook because you don't even want to put your own names to it. I wouldn't want to put my name on that garbage either. But the bottom line is, go ahead, talk to the rest of the council, tell the rest of the town how you feel. Tell us what we did and how we're your comments about being anti-Semitic. You're wrong. You're wrong about this town. You're wrong about this council. And frankly, you just don't really understand this community. And you know what? Keep coming to the meetings. Keep saying what you want online. But I promise you, I've had it. My family has had it. Okay? And I'm telling you, going forward, I am not sitting back any further on this. I promise you there will be a response. And I'm telling you, sitting here, you won't like it, and neither will they who are doing this.
For what? For fun? for political expediency to improve your election results? Now, because of your folly, you have subjected your residents to possible millions in legal bills and penalties and the embarrassment of correcting your bad behavior. Of course, you have rescinded the parks ordinance and tabled the sign ordinance, but that is not enough. As the elected officials of Mahwah, you are accountable and should accept responsibility for bringing a stain onto Bergen County.
What do you want?
Attempts.
Ma'am, that's
I'm not done yet.
That's out of line.
Thank you.
Out of line.
She gets to speak.
Attempts.
Mr. Kaplan, I run this meeting, not you. And if you have a problem, you see the police officer there? You'll be gone. And I run this meeting, not you. So let's get it straight. We have no problem letting her speak. And the next time you take a comment and address the council without coming through me first, you will be gone. Do you understand? Nod your head if you understand.
Attempts to confound the issue with talk of a county-wide Eruv that is indeed a half-baked scheme with a transparent attempt to shift the focus away from Mahwah does not serve you well. It is here in Mahwah where bigotry was allowed by you to rear its ugly head, fueled even more by your foolish actions. Hateful speech should never be tolerated at council meetings, period. So it is here in Mahwah where you must begin the process of making amends. This process begins with you, the elected leaders. Your attorney, Brian Chakowski, has referred to the ordinance recension as a, quote, strategic move. This cynical response does not in any way address the behavior that has been so offensive to the state of New Jersey that they have initiated their own legal action which condemns the recent civil rights violations here in Mahwah. When I first spoke back in September, my expectation was that you act in accordance with common decency, speak out against anti-Semitism, and provide the leadership needed because of your actions. Now, 4 months later, mired in 2 lawsuits, which were completely avoidable, violating your oaths of office and the public trust, it is incumbent upon you to resign, to lessen the shame that you have brought upon Bergen County and the state of New Jersey.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
You're
you.
done.
There we go. Hey, Happy New Year, guys. Dave Kopech, 142 Church Street, Mahwah, New Jersey, 24-year resident of town. Just want to thank you all, really, for giving up your, I know you're all family people. I know you're all very involved in the community. I want to thank you, wish you a Happy New Year for what you do for our town. And I know you guys protect our town. And I've been coming to these meetings since June, And frankly, I'm sick and tired of week after week and day after day unfounded attacks on our town. You are talking about park ordinances. He put the ordinance request in place and you opened the email. You have the email. I'm sorry. So it's just ridiculous. I don't have a planned speech. Nobody wrote me a thing to bring up here and read off and vilify all you guys. You're good people. Mahwah is an awesome town. I went to a birthday party last Saturday, okay? There was 20 kids there. There was a Jewish kid there. There was an Indian kid there. There were a couple Latino kids. There was an Asian gentleman. Everybody had a great time. All the parents had a great time. Everyone got along great. If you believe the comments that people are spreading about this great town, you'd think it was Nazi Germany. In fact, there are people who blog and use that, and we're all well aware of that. So, just want to lend my support. I think you guys are doing a great job, and I think things will take care of themselves this year. And just keep doing what you're doing, and don't believe all the bull crap. I know it's coming right up after me.
Not yet.
And,
Yes,
no?
we just,
Oh, wait, okay. Some more truth. And that's all I really want to say. Again, we have bloggers out there, notorious slumlords, people who work for John Sampson, who's now in jail, former New York State senator. Maybe you want to look that up. He's not here tonight, but, he'll be back. So it's like a real den of thieves that you guys are dealing with. And my heart goes out to you, but I also give you my ultimate support. And there's thousands more people out there like myself in this town, and you're going to find out real soon who they are and, what they want to do too. So God bless you all. Have a great day.
thank you.
Melanie Sue, 13 Grenadier Drive. I just want to reiterate what Dave said.
He knows how to use the microphone really well,
And I
so.
don't have any idea what he's doing. I just want to thank the entire council for what you've been through this year. First of all, it's completely needless. None of it has been your fault. There are a lot of people in this town, thousands, like Dave said, that support you and know that you've been backed up against a wall and you've dealt with it the best that you can. And we all are behind you. And please don't let all of this crap change the fact that you want to do public service for Mahwah, because we don't want to lose any of you over this. And I think that would be the worst thing that could happen, is that somebody steps away because of this. And I know that they're trying to push you away, but I really hope that you'll stay.
Well, I just want to say this, and then I'm going to try not to say much these days, but I'm going to just say, no one is going to force me to go anywhere, and I hope no one forces anyone up here to go anywhere. I think when people try to do that, it really just shows the true judgment of who they are and the character of who the people are. Bottom line is, I said this before, I'll say it again, discourse is good. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with someone. It teaches you their point of view and looking at a different perspective and maybe coming in from a different light.
That's civil discourse.
That's correct.
This hasn't been civil.
This has been far from civil.
This is the bullying that we're teaching our children not to.
And I've had people come up here and telling us about how we're the bullies.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to tell you, just take a look at what.
Have you been to another town's council meeting recently? How are you the bully?
I don't know, but I can tell you this, that when I hear how we're the bullies, I sit here and I say, we listen to everybody. We've heard everyone talk. We may disagree. We may get upset with some of the things that are said. We may go back and forth. But when people come in and start attacking you, telling you to resign or whatever, what are you going to do, sit up here and be happy? So what we're supposed to do is, I guess, sit here and just be kind of punching bags for people. Go up here, say whatever you want, and then not worry about what people's feelings are here. Well, that might work for some other people. It doesn't work for me. So I'm going to tell you how I feel. My heart's on my sleeve. It's always been that way. That's how I am. And so bottom line is, thank you for coming up here to support us. Thank you for the people who support us. Thank you for the people who understand what it takes for us, what we're going through. And I will tell you that no one's going to tell me to resign. When I decide that this is enough for me, it will be enough. And hopefully it will be the same way with anybody else. Mr. Sabara, that's what Mr. Sabara decided. And you know what? From going forward, people can come up from anywhere they want to and make their opinions, but we'll do our own thing. We gotta do the right thing for the town.
Thank you for sticking with Mahwah.
Thank you.
I would like the last word.
Go ahead. You can. Go ahead. Absolutely. Go ahead. That's fine. Mm-hmm.
First, I have a question.
Name and address, please.
Kaplan, 670 Rambo Road, Teaneck, New Jersey. First, I had a question. Resolution 424-17, which promised never to reenact Ordinance 1812, was passed by the council last year. Resolutions expire with the council that passed them. Will you be renewing resolution with similar language for 2018?
That's up to legal. I at this point, I'll confer with legal and we'll get
I'm
back to you.
asking your opinion on whether you would be.
I just told you I will confer with legal and get back to you.
You need to confer with legal on what your opinion is on whether it should be
I
reorganized.
just said I will confer with legal and get back to you. Is there a problem with what with your hearing me say?
I'm asking if you have an opinion.
I just gave you what I told you what I would do. Thank you.
Does any other council member have an opinion on whether you?
No,
would be
that
reorganized?
gets directed through me to the council. If I would like to ask them on what their opinion is, I can, and I choose not to.
Clearly. A lot's been said at this microphone. A lot was said regarding the statements of the council. You just said that no one said anything anti-Semitic. I was here at a meeting when a council member made anti-Semitic tropes about following the money, calling Jews paid agitators coming to meetings, declared, Stephen Sabara said it, declared that a Holocaust victim was just someone that was paid to come here. I have seen this council interrupt and tell people that they are not capable of voicing certain opinions, that they are out of line. You did it tonight. You almost tried to throw me out.
When you try to interrupt the
Excuse
meeting,
me,
no,
I am
no,
not
excuse me.
done. No, I am not finished.
Listen,
I have a right to speak.
You can
under
speak.
Title
You
10.
can speak whenever you want to.
I
But
do
when
not-
I,
you do not have a right to interrupt me now, sir.
yes, I do.
No, you do not.
Yes, I do.
Speak to your attorney. You are courting an OPMA violation by interrupting me at the microphone.
Mr. Kaplan, please listen to the council president. It is his meeting. Our bylaws require decorum. You have the right to speak, but you speak in accordance with the bylaws here.
I have
Don't
a right
throw,
to speak without
you
being
know,
interrupted, sir.
and you can't finish. You can't let somebody finish. You will have that right to speak. You also are expected to follow the right of decorum. And if you fail to do so, the Open Public Meetings Act does not give you any greater rights than anybody else. So please finish your comment.
And so when I say something to you, I ask that you have respect for this council, for our meeting and how it's handled. And I have no problem going back and forth. I'm not trying to stop you from speaking. You can speak and say whatever. I tell you, you can say whatever you want to.
I have a certain cadence which would like to speak without interruption.
Well, that may not necessarily always work the same way here, because even though the way you may like it, we would like it certain ways too. It doesn't always turn out that way. So go ahead.
This council, and especially through its council president, has seen fit in the meetings I have been to shut down people it does not like. It has seen
Okay,
fit.
stop.
Oh, hold on.
No, stop.
I want to make a
No,
complete statement.
you made a statement, and you just said that we don't like. There is no one that comes up to this microphone that I have any like, dislike, or whatever. There is, when you come to the microphone, you are just like every other person. You're standing here to give me your opinion. When you say something that's a lie or not true, I'm going to stop you. And I'm going to stop the person also. Because things that get put on the record, that you want to put on the record to go in here to use against us later on, like you kind of just did with Mr. Sabara, all right, just unfounded. It's not true. It's what you made up in your mind. It's what you heard. It's what you think you heard. And that's fine. But the bottom line is, it's not true. So you can say what you want to, but don't say how we're sitting here, how we like or dislike someone. You
When
come to the meeting,
residents-
speak, we'll let you speak.
When
Go ahead.
residents come here and say words that you personally appreciate, you will let them go on for quite a while. Words that some are reprehensible. When residents come, or non-residents come here, that you disapprove of, you will regularly cut them off. You will stop them. You will say their time is up before their time is actually finished. You will let other council members, the ones you won't let answer a question that I have, regularly make interruptions and say you're done here. You are selective. You are outrageous when it comes to wielding power inappropriately to people at the microphone. It is inappropriate. and it is improper.
Am I wielding power to you right now?
Yes, you are.
And now you have spoken twice so far, right? We've had 2 open public sessions. You're here. We let you speak as long as you want to.
Right.
I let the individual here from Englewood also, Lisa, come in here and speak as long as she
No,
wanted to
you do
also.
not let anyone.
Yes, I did.
You have a statutory responsibility.
My
to
statutory
fight.
responsibility is 5 minutes, and if I wanted to limit it to 3, I could. Okay, and the bottom line is I haven't limited to anything tonight, to anyone to speak. And I have never limited it basically going back and forth on a discussion. And I will tell you, what I will do is I will take advice from the people in this count, from the people of the public who have asked me to follow that from now on to make sure that we limit it. And in fact, I may go forward and look to go down to limit the time down to the Bergen County freeholders at 3 minutes. Mary Amorosa has a limit down there. You have to sign your name in, tell them what the questions are, so that people even know what's going on. I don't have you have a sign-in sheet here. I don't tell you what you're going to ask or tell us what you want to talk about first. I let you come up, put your little statement up here, read your statement off your phone, and do whatever you want. I let you go as long as you want. But I promise you, if this is a problem for you about the time limit of how we're going to do this, I will make sure that we put a set standard time of 3 minutes or 5 minutes from here on in, and that's it. When the clock goes off for anyone, it'll stop at that point. That's it. Is that good enough for you?
What we do is...
No, I asked you a question now. Would that be good enough for you?
It's irrelevant what you want to do.
Okay, so it's now, I just gave you what you wanted to do, and it's not good enough. Okay, finish.
You can't give me my opinion and ask me for it at the same time.
Finish,
Now,
please.
you have made veiled accusations to people in this room. People have come up here and mentioned various things about me, individuals that I work with. I spoke with Mr. Bay, since it seems to be the elephant in the room at the moment. He wrote to me as soon as personal information about him became public. I spoke out immediately against it. I had the information removed when it was in my power to do so. He's been writing me privately for quite a while, and while I won't reveal the substance of what we talk about, because that's a private chat between us, it's been civil for the past 6 months that we've been writing back and forth. And I have never participated in any of these attacks. Yet, when you come up here and you look at me, specifically looking at me directly...
No, that's where the camera was. That's your camera where I was looking. You just happened to be sitting in that chair. Because I know who's sitting on the other end of that camera, and I wanted to make sure that the person who was sitting on the other end got the message. I hope it was delivered.
The attacks that have come from this council, the attacks that have come in the form of ordinances. I sat in Judge Vasquez's courtroom this morning. There were members of the press, there were members from the AG's office, there was members from your legal team there. And one of the points Judge Vasquez made was that even when you come to generally applicable, neutrally applied rules, which your 3 minutes would certainly qualify, when they are disproportionately affecting a certain group, when they are created at a time that would disproportionately affect a certain type of people, which is exactly the claim that your own chief of police brought to you regarding the parks ordinance, which is exactly the type of issue that you are bringing up again.
Let's just bring this up one more time. One more time. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I'm going to ask you one more time.
Let me finish my sentence. Who is the only set of people in this room currently facing civil rights charges by the state of New Jersey?
Please stop. I'm going to bring this one more time because maybe you have a reading comprehension or a listening comprehension issue that went on here. Okay? The chief of police's comments that were made to us were never given to us from administration. I want you to listen to me one more time so you hear this. Because maybe you didn't hear it the first time when it happened. Maybe you didn't hear it the second, third, fourth, or fifth from this council. Administration, the guy sitting right over there with the white hair and the glasses, the one who's supposed to be running this town. When it came to him to let him know that there was an issue from the police chief, never forwarded the information to this council. Do you understand that? You do understand that, right? Okay, so you tell me how I'm supposed to know that. Is that supposed to be osmosis that I'm supposed to figure that out?
I'll tell you how.
It was osmosis, right?
I'll tell you how you're supposed to know it. You're supposed to know it the same way the chief of police knew it. You're supposed to know it the same way that the Bergen County prosecutor knew it.
I'm not going to try this case right now, but I'll tell you.
You see,
well, you see the gentleman sitting next to me. That's how we do this.
You're supposed to know it the same way the Attorney General of the state of New Jersey knew it, and you're supposed to know it the way Judge Vasquez knows it. And that is how you were supposed to know it. You want to know how you were supposed to know it? By being a damn leader.
You're done.
That's how you're supposed to know it.
You're done. Thanks.
He's a good leader too, sir.
Oh, please.
Okay, to the person who spoke a few minutes ago.
Wait.
I'm sorry, Michelle Cropaz, 24 Island Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. Okay, to the person who spoke a few minutes ago, I appreciate that you are exercising your right to free speech granted under our Constitution. It is important to understand that there are bad apples in every community. Should the public have said what they did? Maybe not. But when people keep beating a dead horse simply because the manner in which amends are trying to be made are not exactly the way they want it to be, my message is please, what's done is done. We are trying to move forward. Are these people expecting us to throw ourselves on a pyre and set ourselves on fire because maybe, we might have, some folks in our community might have said some things that weren't very nice? And okay, we acknowledge that. Let's move forward. Let it go. Stop beating a dead horse. We're done. So I just wanted to say that we can't always have things our way all the time. Get over it. So that being said, thank you, Council, for your service to this community and to the Township of Mahwah. So I appreciate all that you do for us, and I hope that 2018 will be a wonderful year in which all of us can work together. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that.
Bob Lockwood, 10 Homespun Court, Mahwah, New Jersey. Just here to support you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Council. I think you hear a lot. This just to kind of re-emphasize what we've heard just now. There are people that are stoking the fire and continue to stoke the fire. And I don't have much more to say than that, which is they should think about renewal. It's a new year, it's 2018. If there were mistakes, forgive them and let's move forward, but let's just stop stoking the fire and repeating over and over all these things that just make things worse. So I just want to let you know that there are thousands of people out there that do support you, and they'll come up and they'll talk, and thank you for your service, and hopefully you have a much better year.
Thanks. Anybody else? Seeing no one, motion to close. By Mr. Irvin, second. By Mr. May. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is now closed to the public. You have a question on what? Go ahead. Here.
I would like to make a motion that we limit all speakers to 3 minutes.
It is going to be something.
Can we do that?
That is something that's going to be looked into.
Okay. We can't do it now?
Not right now. That's would be new business.
Okay.
And we will talk about that going on for potential for a future agenda. Okay, Mike. Well, first we got to do the works. We got to do submission of bills and claims. Then we get to them. Anybody have any questions or concerns on the submissions of bills and claims? Take a look at them, please. And if you have any questions, please go forward. Okay.
Good evening, Happy New Year. Are we limiting the engineer to 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Fully in support of that. I'd like to congratulate Councilman Hermanson and Wong for being reappointed to Council President and Vice President, and to continued success. And I would also like to thank the Mayor and Council for your faith in our office for our reappointment as Town Engineer and Utility Engineer. I look forward to providing the Township with the continued excellence that they deserve, and I look to continue doing that this year. I'm looking forward to a great 2018, very effective and productive 2018. Really, the only thing we have on our agenda tonight is a verbal status report. I'd like to touch on Route 202. The contractors out there, the county.
Who's the contractor? Let everyone know the contractor.
Sensari's out there. He was out there since last Thursday. They expect to install the precast footings tomorrow and begin installing the culvert. I obviously have much more confidence in this contractor than we did the previous contractor. It's my understanding that they still expect it to be completed by the end of January. Of course, that's going to be weather dependent, but you know, I think they have the right contractor out there now, so I'm looking forward to that. At the next meeting, I'm going to have a change order for the Wyckoff Ave project that we had. It's going to be a reduction in the contract amount, not to spoil the surprise for next meeting, but reduction in about $14,000. I'm also going to have the vacation of Jefferson, a portion of Jefferson Place on the next meeting agenda, and that's really all I have.
Well, that's great. We always like to get money back. That's always good. I can just tell you that I think they have the right person there now, the right company to get that job done. It's too bad that they weren't there originally, because we would definitely not be talking about this still. And hopefully, God willing, it will be done by the end of January. The weather has been horrendous right now for people. I feel bad for people who are outside having to work out in this. But at the same time, looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break, over the next couple of days, hopefully, that they can get some stuff, done. I don't know if anybody else has any questions. I have a question that you and I have been in contact with, over the last, 24, 48 hours. I know that the mayor has made reference and reached out to a number of individuals. I'm just going to go on the record here. The issue that we've had is about the odor over on Chapel Road, along by George Washington Schools, and we've been going through this now for years. It has been really more public in the last 2 years, where people have come to the council meetings and talked to us about this and try to come up with a situation to rectify this. So I'm just going to go myself personally on the record, and then but anyone else wants to make a comment if they would like to. But I'm not satisfied with the solution anymore. Our residents spend a lot of money for sewer and for our, for things. I have an individual sitting right next to me who's also on this board, so he's probably going to have to recuse any answers or say from anything he's going to say or whatever, but he can bring back, I think, from what we're saying here. To me, the people deserve better. Our residents deserve better. Our kids in the school deserve better. I hear that this is, it's worse during the winter, and it's not necessarily spring and whatever. We had something backed up and froze, and this is why we had some of this, and low water rate, the water is down because the kids are out of college and so forth and so on. Those are all excuses, and we all know what excuses are, okay? And so to me, we've had enough. We tried a solution. It didn't work. It's not working. I want a better answer. I want a better solution. I want something from the county to tell us how they are going to fix this problem going forward forever. They have just as much right to live in their home without a smell as everybody else in this town. They pay the same rates as everyone else does. Bottom line is, I don't know how anyone else feels up here, but this needs to be done. I hope the mayor will pick up this ball and carry it, because if I have to, tonight is the meeting, the authority meeting. We couldn't be there, but I promise you, I probably will be at the next one. This has got to change.
I think that'd be helpful. So I can tell you that the major source of complaints is usually in the fall. They had the Northwest Bergen Utility Authority did put in a bunch of measures to address that situation. In the fall, we didn't get any complaints. And what happens is they have a odor control system that puts in material in the sewer line that controls the odor. And so we got no complaints in the fall. We've obviously had the severe weather that we've had lately, and I'm not saying that's acceptable. We were contacted on Sunday. A person in my office was contacted by a resident she immediately contacted Northwest Bergen on that Sunday, and they went out there and they found out what the issue was. The odor control system, the solution that they put in, froze. And that's going to happen. It's not acceptable. And the Northwest Bergen has to come up with something that continues to address the town's need in that measure. The odor control system was put back online yesterday at 3. We spoke yesterday, and then we've had other discussions with Northwest Bergen. So that situation, we know what the cause of that was. The system froze, and it's not acceptable. It's got to. We're going to have. We live in northern New Jersey. We're going to have periods that freeze, and that has to be addressed. And then Northwest Bergen has to make sure that continues to go forward. So I think with respect to the, we know what the cause of this issue was, and there's been some other concerns with some water level in people's toilets due to the vents. I'm getting a price from a roof contractor. They just have to adjust the filter, and but so that's where we are on that. I'm going to relay your concerns to Northwest Bergen, but I think it's helpful to attend a meeting and let them know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let anyone else have any comment, and then I'll make something. But
Did the house filters weren't affected, or?
They are, but what can happen is the medium inside the filter sometimes can be a little dense, and what will happen is it will restrict the flow out, not necessarily cause issues in the house, but it could reduce the water level in some of the people's toilets. And all you need to do is have the roofer go up there, take off the cap, reduce the amount of medium in there, and then put it back on, and that should resolve that. That's from the manufacturer.
Go ahead, Mayor. I'll make my after. Go ahead.
If I can't say that this has been going on for the better part of a year or more with the meetings with the residents. I know that Giselle, yourself, Mr. Horowitz, members of Northwest Park, goes back with John DePuzzo being there, that we've all sat around and tried to figure out exactly what the problem was. And we came to this solution, and the solution, for all intents and purposes, has been working, but for the fact that it's 2-degree weather, this extended 10-day period, it froze. You're right that it should be able to endure a northern New Jersey winter. This could happen again, but I think we learned something from it. But I do know that the Northwest Bergen was on site on, I believe, on the Sunday, also on Monday at 6:15 in the morning to try to determine if there were orders. I know that your office, along with Giselle, were active throughout the weekend, and I know you were doing the right thing and a good job, and I thank you for that, and I thank you for your participation with the residents. We have individually had to negotiate with them to install these vents on their own personal homes, and it was no small feat to do that, but yet they all agreed, and it seems like we're headed in the right spot. The hiccup or the glitch here is something I know that we're going to get resolved, and when we go to the sewer commission meeting, we'll certainly discuss that with them. But I know Mr. Horowitz has all the emails going around back and forth, so thank you for it.
Listen, trust me, nobody wants this matter to be resolved more than I do, and it's the Northwest Bergen system. But
Here's my point. I understand what the mayor's saying, and I understand and I agree with him to a point, but I disagree also. There was a solution that was trying to be put in to see how that was going to work. We're in the first week of January. We haven't even gone through, we have February also. Now, don't get me wrong, this is one of the coldest Januaries I can ever remember in my life. All right, we have, North Carolina that I think it was 121 hours and straight that they were under freezing, which has been, broke a record too. So obviously there's been, it's been a little strange of what's gone on. But that doesn't mean that we should not have something else in place. Other areas in the town have other things in place so that this doesn't occur. And for me, the Township of Mahwah is probably the largest payer into the sewer system. We probably pay more money into that sewer system than anybody else. The money is spent, and spent everywhere. I mean, we've seen them, I've seen the projects, I see the cost of the projects. It's time for them to put the money in to fix this problem completely, not put a Band-Aid on it anymore. This is a Band-Aid to me. we put a Band-Aid on, we're going through, we're gonna do, we learned a lesson. No, we didn't. We learned a lesson is that this didn't work, what they did. No more Band-Aids, fix the problem, spend the money, do it right, that's it. I really think that's the way it should be. We, like I said, we do pay the most into the system. We should get something out of it.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
That's it.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
Mike, and to Boswell, and to Jerry, and to Brian Chakowski, who's our professional here. I appreciate the council's approval of all the mayoral consents. I think that we have the best professionals. They've done incredible work throughout the year and renewing their contracts. I think it's a very good thing for our community, so thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Mike. Administration. And with that, by the way, we saw the prosecutor and the judge came down from after court too, so it's also, I believe we also recommend, for them too. They're great people.
I told them they were all done.
Yeah.
Under administration, a very brief report this evening. We have two pay-to-play compliance matters. One for Edmonds and Associates. If you're not aware, Edmonds and Associates provides our accounting software for the township. They provide probably the majority of the towns in New Jersey with accounting software, and the annual license fees need to be paid. They're above the pay-to-play threshold, so we have them complete the compliance paperwork. And also, we have a contract for York Motors. York Motors provides lighting equipment and so forth, a variety of different lighting equipment for vehicles. And but no one particular purchase is that much, but in the aggregate, they do exceed the pay-to-play threshold, so we'd ask your approval for those. Are there any questions? No. And the second item, just we have Tyco Animal Control Service, which is a service contract, which is a renewal. We have two proposals, one from the County of Bergen and one from Tyco. Tyco is the lower proposal. I believe it's the same amount as last year, and we're asking for you to authorize their service for the coming year.
Anybody have any questions on that, on Tyco?
What happened to the question on 2B?
2B has been removed because they're waiting, I believe, on a resume.
Yeah.
I believe it's received.
Is that correct?
It'll be on the next
It'll
meeting.
be on the next meeting?
It'll be on your next agenda.
Yeah, that's all. Yes, Janet, you have a question?
No, I'm not going to answer.
What?
I was just going to ask about when we call Tyco.
You can ask that question. You can, here. They're actually, they're pretty, I have no problem.
No, I was just wondering, since we're voting on it, like, what do we do when we see, like, say, a hurt animal? Do we immediately call Tyco?
Well, I think that's.
Well, the police department.
I was just gonna say. the
I
police
know, and
department,
then
I
they
think-
call Tyco.
Right.
Yeah,
And then Tyco sends them to,
That is a question,
is
depends
that the,
on.
Where do they send the animals?
Depends on. Yeah.
That's a tough question to answer. Depends on the animal.
No, I guess what I'm getting at is
If it's a
that,
bear,
do they bring
or
these
it's a
animals to
beaver.
kill shelters? That's what I'm getting
Well,
at.
they're dead when Tyco shows up.
oh, they're only dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they're hurt, we don't call Tyco.
Yes.
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes.
Animal
What do we do
control.
when they're hurt?
That's up to Tyco.
It's up to Tyco, it depends on the injury that we
Helen,
have.
would you like to speak? Diane? Motion to open to Diane to speak.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll just
All in
try-
favor?
I'll just try to offer a little explanation
Yeah.
from my dealings personally all the time with Tyco Animal Control. If they're on call 24/7, okay? Please have a contact number after hours to be paged, and they respond. If an animal is injured, they can be called too. They've been responding many times in our town to horses that were in accidents on 287, horses that have been at barns that have been injured, a deer who's caught into a fence, an animal hit by a car, different things like that. What they will do is they'll come up and they'll take the animal and they'll get it medical treatment. most times. If it's deceased, okay, then, for example, a deer or something that's a roadkill or something, you know, they'll dispose of it properly. If it's a large animal such as a horse and it dies, you know, there's up in Sussex County, there's a collection area, I can't think of the name of it right now, where they bring those carcasses as well. They have a shelter themselves down in Paramus, it's right behind the Paramus Health Department, Tyco Animal Control. And she has another shelter in, I believe, Midland Park, maybe White Clough, okay? And they would, you know, try their best to save an animal. They adopt out a lot of animals. We've had problems with cats, stray cats, feral cats, things like that. If they deem them adoptable, they work with a lot of other shelters, Ribari and different ones in the area. So I truly believe that they are no-kill. You know, they don't have that
You feel better?
reputation.
I can just, listen, I've dealt with Tyco unfortunately a couple of times.
3 or 4 times a week, I'm on the phone with them all the time.
Sometimes they come visit me with my dog. You know, my dog gets out, but they've always been great. I mean, anyone that I've known in the town that's had anything, they've always generally, from what I've heard, is good things, not, you know, nothing else.
We
So
have 19 horse farms in town, and they go to every single stable and check them, and, you know, the health department is very satisfied with the relationship.
excellent. Thank you. And the clerk is too good. That gives it reinforcement. Okay. Anybody? There's no other questions on that? All right. Yeah. Okay, we're going to move right into the public meeting. Approval of bills and claims. Roll call, please.
Ms. Arima?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki? Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Reports to Township Council, Municipal Clerk, Township Council, comments, communications, reports to subcommittees, please. Roll call.
Mr. Arima?
Okay, first I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Let's see, the Environmental Commission is having its first meeting tomorrow, so I don't really have a report on that. And the Library Board of Trustees is having their first meeting next Wednesday, so I don't have a report on that. The Access for All met for the first time last night. They will be meeting on the first Monday of the month going forward. They had a guest speaker from Camp Acorn, and they're going to be collaborating with this camp in the future, so that's something to come. Let's see. Let me just skip to, oh yeah, the only thing is about their ordinance. I think they want us to approve where they're going to have 13 voting members.
It's ready to go, yes.
It's ready to go? Okay.
You'll address that at the next, when I talk about the ordinance committee.
Okay, all right, yeah, because they want a quorum of 7, majority of 4. Okay, so they were talking about that, so that's good. And then the last thing is that they are having a basketball event on Saturday, January 27th at Mahwah High School, starting at 12 o'clock. It's going to be for children in Mahwah with physical or developmental disabilities up to 18 years old. They can come and meet the basketball players. It's a basketball game between the boys varsity team in Mahwah versus Lodi. So the children are invited to come, and they can get a free basketball signed by the players, and then they can watch the players warm up. And then they can go in the locker room for a pre-game meeting, and then they can watch the basketball game. So that's, again, on Saturday, January 27th. And that's my report.
Mr. Irvin?
First and foremost, I don't need that, I can speak pretty loud. Happy New Year to everybody. Congratulations to Rob and John. Last evening we had our Recreation Committee reorganization meeting. Pretty much everything, all the events that we do, we're going to continue to do, but we're also trying to look to expand. What those events could be, I can't tell you right now because we don't even know yet. We're open to suggestions from everybody. And Janet, you're more than welcome to come and email me or stop at a meeting and let us know. And that's my report. Thank you.
Mr. Mag?
Happy New Year, everybody. I also attended the rec committee meeting last night, and it looks to be a fun-filled year of events. And today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so thank you. And to everyone in law enforcement out there, thank you for your service. And congratulations, Rob, John. Look forward to you guys leading us through the year. That's my report.
Mr. Long?
Happy New Year to everyone. My report will be very short. The Ordinance Committee rescheduled its meeting on January 4th to January 16th. Items on the agenda will be marijuana and township social media policy. The township social media policy is moving forward with comments from department heads. I really hope to get that. I expect that should be done in a month or so. And then lastly, happy birthday to Janet Eruv. Happy birthday.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's close.
But before the next council meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Wysocki?
Happy New Year, everyone. I look forward to working with the council again for another year. Congratulations, Rob Hermanson and Jonathan Long, for your appointment. A special thank you goes out to our DPW for this last snowstorm. By far, our roads were probably the best in the county after that ice and snowstorm. So Glenn and the guys and ladies did a fabulous job. The last thing I'd like to comment on, I mentioned to Mr. Hermanson about Silver Creek. Over the past few days, we've had weather, below zero, and a lot of people are out there ice skating. They're getting thrown off because there is an ordinance that we passed about ice skating. Just wonder if maybe we can look into that lake. That lake is probably the cleanest lake we have in town. It's spring-fed off of the Massachusetts Brook. It's a very shallow pond. I believe it's only 4 feet deep. At the deepest point, maybe 5 feet. At present, I went out there and I measured the ice. There was 16 inches of ice on that lake. You could drive a tractor trailer on it. I know liability is a big thing, but maybe us as a council, we can talk and maybe come up with a solution. Because that used to be a very, very large congregation for the entire township to ice skate. Other than Winter's Pond, which we can't ice skate on it for reasons. But Silver Creek, I think, is something that we should look into to make for ice skating. It had lights at one time. It was a big area where the kids in the entire community used to go bonfire the whole bit. So maybe we can look into that and try and come up with maybe a solution that we can make that work.
I think one of the policies, you have to look at, again, through JIF, make sure that we go through the policies and put up signs. And we've been through this once before in a different method with that. But I think if we follow through and put, the signs for, most of this, skating at your own risk, things like that, we have to go through that, through that. But if we have something up there right now, it should be followed by what we have. But we can, look into that. Maybe we put that on for, discuss for the next meeting. So this way it'd be done potentially but you'd have to go through and have everyone look at it. So I'm going to ask the attorney to kind of go through and see what we would have to do in the policy there through JIF and what would have to be up on the signs and meet the standards for that. And how, again, maintain it. From what I understand, that there was a guy up there with his own snowblower trying to clean it off the other day. So he was up there with his own snowblower cleaning it off for everybody. So, I think that, a lot of that kind of goes on where, when we all grew up. I grew up here in Bergen County too, and a lot of these lakes and ponds and things that people, also usually maintain themselves. It's not like that DPW or whatever has to go out there to keep that. So we have to do something and look into that of how the maintenance would be and what would happen, because I wouldn't want to see anyone if we get hurt or whatever. But we'll look into that, I promise.
Mr. Hermanson?
Well, first of all, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year. And I'm not going to get you in trouble, George, but happy birthday to your better 75%. Mrs. Irvin. Also, happy birthday, Janet. With that, we have a pool committee meeting coming up. That will be our first of the year. I look forward to hearing the good things and building on what we did last year on the awards that we won on our pool. Some good stuff there, and I really think going forward it's a great thing. I want to thank the council for their trust in me again this year. I can tell you that this was not necessarily something that I was looking forward to doing another year. We had plans on some other things that were going to be looked at, and I know that there was other people here who asked me directly with everything that was going on, did I really want to do this another year? I thank everybody up here for their thoughts and really their concerns over me and for doing this job. This is not an easy job. It's not an easy thing, and I have tremendous more respect for the people who have sat in this chair and who have done this job, knowing what you go through. And so I thank all of you for helping me and being my eyes and ears, and I really do thank Kathy Coviello and her office, clerk's office. Without them, this is not possible. They really do a great job, and I thank them for everything. And Jonathan, thank you for last year and for going forward. I know that like I said, you had some concerns too, for thinking about myself, and I really appreciate that your sentiments. And I look forward again to working with you and anything that you need to do, and on that side. And you were a very good council vice president last year, and I look forward to working with you again this year on anything. That also doesn't preclude anyone here, again, as we know, from letting you speak, say what you want to say, and ask me questions, reach out to me on things that you have concerns over, and that I think we've worked pretty well with that. And I look forward to continuing to do the same process. If anybody would like to see anything or see something different or potentially, please let me know, and we'll work together. The last thing I have to say is that hopefully at our next council meeting we will have a full council again of 7. I look forward to working with whoever that next council person will be, depending upon how how it's voted or whatnot. But I will also state that taking this position on is not easy. And for the people who put their name up on this and who are willing to stand up for the criticism and the things that go on, I truly appreciate it. I appreciate the people here, and I appreciate the people who have put their names on ballots before and who have wanted to do things. This is not an easy thing to do, to put yourself out there in the middle of public scrutiny, and especially in the time that we're living in these days, it makes it a lot harder. So for those that who have done this and are looking to go forward, thank you, and I look forward to working with you at the together for the next year. And thank you for being here, and thank you also to the public. I want to thank our residents. This has not been an easy year for our residents. It's not been an easy year for the town. It's not been an easy year for a lot of things that have gone on. With that, though, I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart how much I love this town and how much I love the people here. To see the outpouring of people coming out and have questions and concerns and different matters. I mean, I think you've heard things that came on here tonight. There were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things that came up. It wasn't all just one issue. It's different things that go on in this town, and the people who care about it and want to see things get done and bring it up and bring it to our attention to make sure that those things are looked into and are considered. And I thank the council for going through, and the things that we did accomplish this past year have been tremendous. And I'm looking forward to going and accomplishing a lot more next year also for the people here in this town, for the benefit of everyone else. That concludes my report.
Mayor LaFrette?
Yes, well, Happy New Year to everybody. It's our first meeting of the 2018. Congratulations to everyone on their appointments, especially our professionals, who I think are really the core of administration. We depend on you heavily, and you've come through for us often and all the time. To our attorneys who have lived through, we've appointed new labor attorneys, different members of the administration professionals. It's truly valuable to us. And one of the things that's happened this year, that we had our first planning board meeting of the year, was that Jerry Entrup, who is here, who I would like to congratulate her on her new move to what I would call Mike's old job. Mike is not going anywhere. Boswell Engineering is still our engineer, still a resource for Jerry. But I know that, Jerry, you've worked through this issue, the opportunity for the last 4 years, gone to all the classes, worked overtime. Your car is always one of 3 cars left in a parking lot between myself, Quentin, Denise, and it's always yours. We appreciate the quality of work and the amount of work you put into your job, and the fact that you're now assuming these new responsibilities is really an honor, a moment for us all. So we want to congratulate you for that. We continue to have our budget hearings. We're holding our breath, and we'll we've met with most all the department heads so far, and so now we're trying to formalize our budget, which we'll be presenting to the council here in the first week, I believe, of February. So that's my report.
Mr. Reese?
I just want to thank Mike Kelly for, even though he's still going to be around as our township engineer and support from Boswell, I'd like to thank him for his service as our zoning officer. It was an interesting year to be a zoning officer in Mahwah, and be the director of planning and zoning is a big task, because there is a lot going on in town, a lot of development and a lot of interest in developing in Mahwah, and Mike's been a great resource for me over the past year, and I look forward to working with him in his other capacity, and looking forward to working with Jerry after she's formally approved. So that's my report.
Very good.
I have no report, thank you.
Okay. That brings us to the next public portion. Each speaker again shall be limited to 5 minutes. Public portion shall be maximum 30 minutes. Mahwah residents first, and anyone who would like to address the council come forward. I make a motion to open to the public. By Mr. Wong, second by Mr. May. All in favor? This meeting is now open to the public. Anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one? Motion to close. Okay. Motion to move the consent agenda. I don't believe there's anything that needs to be removed, so we got 55, 56, and 58. Motion by Mr. Wysocki, second by Mr. May. Roll call.
Ms. Reba? Yes. Mr. Irvin? Is absent. Mr. May?
Yes.
Mr. Hermanson?
Yes.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Okay. Any old business? I always worry about this one.
No, just very quickly.
Here.
I'm telling you, it does happen to me. Every time I drive by Secors, I do drop my phone call. What's going on with the cell tower?
All right, so I can answer that a little bit. We had 2 board members here at one point. I don't know where the other one went, but I know there's still one there, and there's actually, well, there would have been 3 at one point here. From what I understand, the RFP is due back on the 19th, is that correct? 14th?
17th.
Okay, 14th, 17th, 19th. Okay, 17th, okay? So basically it's due back by our next council meeting, it will be back. I don't know if we'll know what will happen at that point, but I would ask for the Board of Ed if you would let us know so we could inform the public on our side too, to what, what's happened there and what it means and what their, expectations are off that. I don't think we're going to, just because we have the RFP back, it doesn't tell us how fast it's going to go up or whatever. You'll have to talk to the individuals then once they win. But I think we can have the first update will be to tell us what happened, who won, where it is, and the amounts or whatever. And the second thing then we can do is we can follow up then on the information to let us know when potentially it will be built or not. I will tell you that I was speaking to a council member just the other day, but yesterday I think, who was going up Secor also, and told me that his call dropped also, Janet, because they were at Secor. So we've talked about this. This is one of the things that we try to deal with, and again, it's something that I'm glad that we worked very well together as a council to get it moving and get it done. And I think it was done, put in the right place, in the right hands, which is great. So, and anything else on that? No. No more old business. All right, we're going to skip new business to the next meeting now. Okay. So nobody else old. Okay. Any new business? Okay, we'll let Janet go first. Ladies first.
I have two. I do agree that I think that we should conduct our meetings like Bergen County, like the Bergen County freeholders. If everybody in Bergen County freeholders gets 3 minutes to speak, then I think that we should do the same here. And I think that we should give everybody 3 minutes, no matter who they are. 3 minutes, that's it, you're done. Can we do that? Can I make a motion to do that?
We've got to take a look into that. We're going to take a look into that. I stated that we would, look forward to discussing that further. Whether it's 3, 4, whatever, we'll figure it out. But that's, it's a potential that there might be a change there on that.
Okay.
I've had some of the public come to me and ask us to look into it also.
Okay. I have another one. I got one more.
Go ahead.
Okay, now, I know you're not going to do this.
this
I know you're not going to do this, but I am very upset about this. So I am extremely upset about this. I did not write all the notes, but it's about the offshore drilling that Trump is saying that he's going to open up the Atlantic to offshore drilling. And I want to know if we could make some kind of a symbolic resolution against offshore drilling in the Atlantic. It's going to affect everybody in New Jersey. It's going to destroy our tourism. We're not going to have any fish. We're not going to have any commercial fisheries or whatever, because there's not going to be any. They're going to destroy the ocean. Can we maybe think about that?
We can think about it, but I will say that that's about what we might be able to do with that. Is look, some of the things that I think that we try to do, and I don't disagree, that some of it is symbolic, some of it is where we are, or whatever. I think that we start to put ourselves, and when we discuss issues like this, it makes the town more divisive, because there are some things that people here in town are going to think that that's a good idea, that we should open it up because there's going to be more oil and more drilled, and people are going to save money, and the gas is going to go. Well, listen, you can shake your head. I get it.
That's not true.
That's not. I'm just telling you what other people might. I'm giving you a different perspective. I'm not saying that's the right perspective or the wrong one. What I'm getting is that once you start doing some of those things, you start putting people and dividing on certain of these issues. And I don't necessarily think that that's the job of the council. I think the job of the council is that when there's things that affect the community, we should be looking to how it affects the community. And those things should be looked at first. I think some of the national issues aren't just exactly that. They should be national issues.
New Jersey issue.
Could be potentially a New Jersey issue, yes. It depends on where the drilling goes and where it's offshore. But again, we'll look into it. I promise you I'll look into it and go from there.
I just want to say one thing, that I believe that, I can't remember the exact amount, but I think if you take all the oil off the whole entire East Coast along the Atlantic, that there's enough oil, if they took it all out and depleted it all, it's enough oil for the United States for, I think it's a half a year. That's it. That's if we drained every bit of oil everywhere up and down the coast. So there's not that much oil there. It's not going to lower oil prices. So people don't understand that, and maybe we should do some research and put that in our resolution.
Can I have that back? I don't know where you heard that. I'm not going to. I know, because the internet is always gospel, but I don't know whether that's necessarily true. All I will say is this: I can't believe that a major oil company is going to look to fund the kind of drilling that they would want to do offshore for half a year of oil, okay? So it might be something that the way that they're doing it or whatever, it needs to be looked into. I have no problem looking into it, but like I said, as I said before, some of the things you can say symbolically and you can say it yourself and then you're on the record or off the record. I have no problem with that up here on some of those things. As again, we just had that with one of the other issues. I think everyone knows where we basically stand on some of the stuff. And so I try, to me, not to want to, I don't need to be, trying to be as divisive with some of this other stuff. It just, we get to be divisive enough, unfortunately, from other means. Anybody else with any new business? Mr. May?
I have an inquiry regarding the agenda too. Is there a way, as an example, that Councilman Wysocki brought up, Silver Creek, can we track any new business items, like the next meeting, then that would be considered old business? Just so we don't lose track of topics?
I'm going to ask the clerk to do, basically clerk takes the note.
Not to make the job that much,
Yes. He's making your job harder. You want to say something to him?
That's okay.
But, no, I think that,
So we can kind of keep track
of where we are. I think, it's just the kind of where we are, where we move forward and we can, as a checklist, like a punch list item.
Yeah, and if, someone doesn't want it on, they can say they don't want it on, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an inquiry.
Okay. I'm just gonna say something. I'm not gonna say it though. All right. That's it. Anybody? Anything else? All right. That means we're gonna go into closed session, which means we're gonna ask you guys to go home early tonight. And this is really actually pretty early for you. Motion to go into closed session by Mr. Wong, second by.